Yep.
Thank you. Right, evening everyone. We'll make a start. Welcome to the March Parish Council meeting. If we make a start with apologies, I think we have a few tonight.
We do. We have apologies from Malcolm, who is still unwell. Although actually today he was having a cataract operation. That wasn't the reason why he wasn't here today, but still feeling pretty poor. Charlie and Jane and Jonathan. So that should be the four that we've got.
Okay. Everyone happy that we accept? Everyone happy that we accept those apologies? Right.
Sorry we're late, but it's like bedlam out there. Don't know what's happening, but it's bedlam.
Okay, well, I'm most happy that we. Can I just ask, do either of you want to address? Okay, in which case, I'm most happy that we suspend the meeting just for a moment and allow the public session to. We'll go back.
Sorry about that, but I don't know, is it guys around us or something? Like, there's hundreds of them out there. Thousands.
Fine. Okay, we'll carry on because I've just remembered he's back in the meeting. Yeah. Okay, so we'll take any declarations of interest that anyone's got tonight. So I need to declare because we'll be discussing the shop, so I need to declare my shareholding of that. Also, my membership of the Sunset Council. I don't think that the parish hold. Any other shareholding in shop? Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I think Abe, you have another declaration because
Yeah.
you're on the management committee of the shop. Yeah. Any other declarations on anything else?
One of the quotes is unrelated to
So that's for the
Ian
footpath
Dunstan.
quotes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a pecuniary, so you're.
Well, it's not. I don't benefit financially from it. So, but my relation does. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so minutes of the last meeting is the 4th of February. Were there any amendments to those? And if not, is there a proposal that I'll sign those to an accurate record? Abe, Tracy seconded. All those in favour? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
And that then brings us to the public sessions. So are there any things that members of the public wanted to raise with us? Mary, do you want to go first?
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
What it is about speed launch. Of course, that's my life at the moment. I've come purposely to show you exactly what happened on Monday. If you can pass it around, you can see the speeds that came through between 11 and 12, which was Viv, Graham and myself, right? And how many cars. The reason I'm worried about it, in June, you're going to have, is it traffic lights up at the roundabout? Well, we all know where the cars are going to come, through this village, yeah? You've put very good calling people to join a speed watch. I've not had any response at all, not one person. And I feel now they don't realise what's going to happen here. And we know from doing the Mondays how it's getting busier and how fast they're coming. They don't even slow down. And the ANPR will have caught them all because they were going that way when it was in the slot, wasn't it? So that is the one thing that I am worried that we need to get more help. It's desperate now because I don't think these village people knows what it's going to be like and what's going to happen. You know, they're going to cut through this village and they're going out to Barrow this way. They won't go up to the roundabout because they'll just be coming through and going straight out. And the first one we caught on Monday was 41. Then we went to a 42 and then a 39 within about 20 minutes. And it's frightening. That is the basic thing I've come tonight because we need to get more people. We've got John that's up the end, he comes up. We're doing it tomorrow morning with him at 8 till 9 because he's tried to get people in this village to spend an hour a week. Is that a lot to ask to save safety here? I just think it's ridiculous now. But that is what's worrying me now, what's going to happen when June comes. Are we going to cope with all this busyness? You know, it's just ridiculous. So, but I don't know what else you can do to get people to realise they should be all helping out with it. because it's going to come wrong. Somebody's going to have a fatality. Oh, yes, that's another point. I had a car going to my fence on Wednesday, right? 4:30 at night. There was no lady, which was travelling from East Brent up the road, and we've got it on camera that she somehow or another came over outside our house, because we got cameras up and down on there, and she was over on the oncoming traffic, going up, and she went straight into our back of our carport. She wiped out 5 posts and all the fence. Or she wasn't speeding, don't know what happened, but if anybody been walking up, thank you, if anybody been walking up the other going to East Brent, you'd have had a fatality then, because she wouldn't have known what's going on. So that is one of the problems we've got. We're just waiting for the insurance to get sorted out about the fence, which nobody got hurt, but there's always an if now in this village. Really is. So that is one thing. And I've got to go off on about the potholes at Whit Lane. They've been painted a fortnight ago. I don't know where they bother because it's all coming off. They don't know where they got to go. So, do you know when they're going to come?
Not as yet. They're because at the moment they're obviously fairly flat out because there's an awful lot of potholes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they have been marked means they've come out and they have logged them, and so they will, even if the paint fades, they do know where they are because they've registered them. I will, because I've reported them on the app, I'll get a notification when they're doing that, but it hasn't come through yet.
No. But it's bad. It really is dangerous bad. So, you know, cyclists on a Sunday, they come through Whit Lane and down to our road. Even a motorbike would be in trouble. It's so deep, and I dread to think what could happen, to be honest with you. But that is the thing. But I think you've got to realise we need help from before June. We've got to do something to get people more involved in the fact of what Burton Road's doing for their safety. That's the thing. And I've seen Stu, the guy with the ANPR. He's been trying to get more of the security ones, it turns out. He's having a problem getting them. So he's going to try and get them. Because I asked him if you've heard from you, but he said he hadn't heard from you. Because I said, well, we discussed it on the morning that there's a problem with them. And he said, well, he hadn't heard from you, but he is trying to get more, these turning their alarms on. So that is the thing. But have I missed anything?
No, because I could go.
Come on in. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
I do it. We've been doing it now since
6
COVID.
years. 6 years.
And we've started being told about COVID stopped us. Excuse me, in the middle of your meeting, but Amanda, just to say that there's 4
Yes, thank
at
you.
the side of our house. Waiting. Did you get the message?
Yes, it is, yes, thank you.
So every day they go out, every night they come back, right?
That's tomorrow.
So I just, gotta keep the. It's the 41 miles per hour on the AN, whatever it is. Something has got to be done about that. All of us can go over 41, till 40 miles an hour, nobody's going to catch you. We're paying for this, as far as I'm concerned, it's my council tax, isn't it? And everybody else's council tax. Why isn't it 30, well, I'd like it to be 30 really. And you're going to tell me now exactly why, because I know why, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you know this? Did you all know? I don't know whether you did or not. That the ANPR that's supposed to get you, and this is 30 miles an hour, and I've lived here 44 years, so, I could have had a picnic out there on the road when I first came. And you can come along there at 40 miles an hour, 41 miles an hour. A lot of people don't know.
You can't.
I don't, because I'm 30.
His registering speed is lower than that, because I get them off the ANPR. It's registering speeds.
Yeah, but are they being fined?
That's up to the police, it's not up to me or anybody else, it's up to the police to decide on that.
Yeah, so the threshold is set by the police. They will do that.
At 41 miles an hour?
But nobody gets fined on it. It's the same system as you got with the your speed watch. They
Yeah, but we
they
can
get
do,
to chase up letters.
yeah, we can
They
do a
get
bit less
enters.
than that, yeah.
Yes.
I
No,
know they get it because
they
I
get-
get reports.
absolutely, they get the letters, but they don't get fines.
No,
Because that was one of the things that
On
people
the
were
third
concerned
one
of,
they
that
do.
it was a
Yeah.
cash cow being
I
introduced to take money off people. It's not, it's there to
Yeah.
educate people
Yeah.
and tell them they're driving too fast.
Quite frankly, if it was 30 miles an hour, if that was the threshold, okay, you need a full-time person to
No, you
take the
wouldn't,
data off.
no, because I drive 30 miles an hour or less on them.
No, I'm saying that's the recording. If we have recorded information,
That you
and
get more,
started to
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
upload everything from 30,
Yeah.
would be there till doomsday, putting it in, frankly. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm doing it manually, remember?
But if
I'm
they
not
got
using
caught
any
it just
techno-
over, then, or got letter, maybe work for a good, but send them a letter anyway. But it's just, that I am stood there, we're stood there, week after week, we don't stand out there in the rain and the snow and all the rest of it, we're romantic this week. But we,
Certainly.
so set, and we've got
Yeah.
1,000 people in this village who sit, well, obviously don't do people, I shouldn't say that.
So one of the
Yeah,
things, Viv, is that obviously the police make the decision as to what the level's at. It started at a much higher level. It has been coming down, and progressively we have been asking for that to happen. It has done in the past come down. We're not telling people
no.
what level it's at because obviously we don't want them to think they can drive at a higher speed. But there will still be ongoing conversations with them.
And most of the
flag
people
up.
that seem to get a letter live in this village, so you sort of turn around and think, well,
To be honest, that is often the case. I know when we used to get the police out here and do their speed guns, I think the figure they gave us was 80%, can't think back in the day. It was something like that. It was a very high proportion were
and
villages.
there's a lot of women as well, with children
That I
sat,
don't
Okay, but
Okay, the
what were you
other
going to say?
80.
I was just going to say, because I used to be speed watching on Ann
Yeah,
Road,
yeah, I know,
and we stopped it because there was nothing being done,
yeah,
letters sent out, and it's so disheartening.
Yeah.
In the end, we said,
yeah, but
it's pointless.
we sort of just go on doing it,
I know.
you do think, and as you say, the road is not getting any less, it's getting busier.
I got one registered at more than 68 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how fast he's going past my house.
Yeah.
Because my camera picks it up.
And again, certainly we have been advised by the police, if they get particularly high ones coming the APR, they will make contact with them direct. They won't just send out a letter if there are those crazy speeds.
There are a few, relatively few, that are sort of what I call stupid speeds.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot around, you're quite right,
Yeah.
around 40, 41, 42. You don't get many sort of up in the 50s, and in fact that has come down.
No,
When I first started doing the data,
yeah.
there were quite a lot above 50.
Yeah.
That is not the case now,
No.
actually they have come down, which is good.
Yeah.
So that means something's happening to
Yeah, but we're getting more traffic all the time, that's the trouble, so it's,
Yeah.
you sort of fight it out, don't
Mm.
and there's, there's no pavements, there's, horses, bikes,
Yeah.
we get walkers up there quite a lot, and runners as well. Even though, at times we do, because we do it sometimes the afternoon, don't we?
Correct.
So, it's all recorded. Okay, but just to register that it's not, as far as I'm concerned, that should be way down. That okay?
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing in terms of the Edith Mead roundabout, just to update, it has been a concern that's been raised by a number of people in this village, but also surrounding villages as to what's going to happen to the traffic.
Yeah.
I've raised it with Somerset. There is a guy called Saeed Shah who was the sort of publicity guy for the Dunball site, so he deals with all the parishes to put out information. He has been engaged to work on this site once it's confirmed. Now at the moment, obviously the clearance work was done before
Yeah.
the thing actually finally signed off because they had to get it done because of the wildlife restrictions.
Yeah.
So once it's up and running, that they're definitely going ahead, then this guy called Saeed will take control. He will then liaise, and I've asked him to come out and talk to the various parish councils and also obviously Burnham and Highbridge Town Council, because people need to know how it's going to work. And I've specifically said to him the concerns around the area of deflected traffic going places which shouldn't. We need to make sure signage is in the right place to send people the best ways.
Yeah.
So it is certainly they're aware of. Keep an eye out for. I hope we'll have a meeting with him coming here to talk to us. It might be next month if it's already signed off by then. But he is certainly keen to do that. He did come to one meeting I was at with Burnham without parish council meeting, because technically the roundabout's in their parish, so he started with them. but we said it doesn't just affect them, it affects an awful lot of us around the patch, so
It's just,
they are on the
you can
case.
see it happening, honestly you can. People don't care nowadays. There's going to be a fatality on that road. The only other thing I've got, Stu texted me, the guy that does the ANPR. He said it looks like the ANPR camera can be linked to insurance tax and MOT checks. Did you know that? No, we didn't know it.
Well,
But that's what he's
I don't
texted
get
me
any
tonight.
feedback at all from the police anyway on the ANPR, so I wouldn't have a clue. I get nothing back from them at all.
Ultimately, we're just collecting the data and passing it to them. It's up to them to follow that up.
But
So.
I get that sheet from them, which I emailed you,
Yeah.
and that's what comes from the Bruce what his name, Bruce,
Yes.
and he's the one that keeps it every month. But I think he was on holiday for January, so I never got January and February, but I'm chasing that up.
Okay.
But the thing is now, he's telling us that people that aren't insured or taxed, the ANPR can pick it up.
Okay.
What do they do about it? If they pick it up, what do they do about it?
I wouldn't know.
I mean,
They'll be picking up registration,
yes.
Yeah.
and that's what he means, and
Yeah.
the police can check the registration.
Yeah.
The system itself just registers
Yeah.
cars
That's
and
right.
speed,
Yeah. It
much
would-
like you do.
Like the one that's down there by Bellevue Villas.
Yeah, so that, I
Have
think
you
that's what he's
seen the
referring
straw around it now?
Yes.
Got a straw around it.
It's
That's
brilliant.
gonna throw up my day. Come on,
All right. Thank you both very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
we have been for a long time, so you wanna,
But
a
we
long,
missed
long, long,
it
long
yesterday.
time.
It's
We
good.
missed it
It's good to
yesterday.
go next time, Viv.
Okay.
No, we thought that, could have brought some cider vinegar.
Vinegar.
Is there any possible chance of thinking about doing some other way to get people interested?
I mean, we can
We
certainly
will,
talk
we'll
about
talk
it
about
next time, because one of the things, I mean, as Aid said, I know your area stopped because you didn't think it would. If the Burton Row one stopped, we'd lose the ANPR camera as well, because you have to have an active speed watching your
I
group.
know that,
Otherwise,
what we said, we know
unable to
that, we know that's what,
Yeah.
I won't give up to get safety on that road.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's bad.
No, it's very. Please do pass back our thanks to the team, because we
Yeah,
do
I know,
appreciate it.
I
As I
know.
say,
Well, there's
without you doing
four
it,
of us.
Yeah, there's 4 of us now, because we did have 11, but unfortunately, people have passed away and people have moved, so.
And people are
But we
still here,
need,
but
we
not.
definitely, you need people in this village, to be honest with you.
Kick up the duties.
You've got enough signs, we've got 8 signs, we only got the 1. So it should be pushed if they can.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Cheers, Aaron. Cheers, Aaron.
Right, which takes on to planning matters. Who's going to lead on this one? David.
Well, you doing it, David?
So this is the
carry on.
Conservatory at 187.
187 TV9 for the,
Yeah.
so on, this is location.
That's the location. Can you, what have you got
Okay,
available?
we've got location, we've got site plan.
Okay, let's
Can we
go
do that?
through them. Yeah, that's more or less the same as the
Same,
location.
same.
But you see that's the area in
Yeah,
red
yeah.
that Bob is
Yeah.
pointing out. It's merely they're putting in a hipped roof on the conservatory. I mean, I looked at it and I saw absolutely nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Purely development of an existing nice house. But can you show any?
Yeah,
I think
what else we got?
the-
What else we got? We've got existing and proposed.
Look at the proposed, but again, it's fairly basic. Again, the area is at the bottom there. There's no side elevation at all. That's just a plan.
Yeah, so let's see if the other one's got side elevation on it, this one here. And I have side elevation perhaps.
Yeah, there you are. That's all they're seeking to do. Put a slanting roof on top of the conservatory with their double doors and window. It's purely making their house better.
So just to check, are we talking about that bit right here?
Yes,
There?
yes,
Yeah.
that's what he's talking about. So
So turn it from a flat roof to a pitch.
Yeah.
That's it.
I
Is this true?
well, I can't propose anything, but I can't see anything wrong with it, with the application.
If that's all, I think we propose it. We know.
Second.
So propose either to support or no?
Support.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And basically because it's enhancing the design of the property and in keeping.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a proposition and a seconding. All those in favour, please show. And I'll abstain because in case it comes to committee. Right.
That's it, that's all there is on planning.
Excellent.
There is another planning application in the pipeline, which shall also have a provisional meeting in 2 weeks' time for that. It's too late for the agenda, unfortunately.
The clerk's report and surgery.
Well, on the clerk's report, my main issue at the moment has been trying to get the website sorted out, because obviously coming up to end of year with this new assertion 10 we have to comply with. I'm working quite hard uploading data to Aubergine and making sure that they've got the right stuff coming across from the old website. Because the big problem I fear is that's something that could go wrong. We could be uploading stuff that we don't really need to have uploaded. So they tell me now that they will have the new website for viewing as an experiment, if you like, by the end of next week. So once I get that information, I'll obviously send it out to everybody. You can have a look at it, see if you've got any observations, comments, or whatever. I have been working and looking very closely at Taunton Town Council website, because that's been built by the same company, Aubergine. So I've been looking to see what they're doing and see how that would work with us. So hopefully it will look something like that. It won't be quite as dramatic as Taunton's. I think Taunton spent a lot more money on it, but it should. Well, spend a lot more money on everything, isn't it, Taunton? But hopefully when you see the finished product, it will look something like what we intended it to do when we started the whole project. So we'll keep on working with Aubergine on that. So that's basically all from myself there. We're working on the work domain for emails, so that's work in progress. We're getting there slowly, one by one. We're getting there. We'll come back to that later anyway. And then obviously on the surgery, we had really, well, 2 visitors actually. One, I think more of a social call rather than any particular reason. And then we had another person came in who had concerns about the shop proposals for the front of the shop, the paved area. She was very, I don't know where the information came from, but anyway, she was quite emphatic about the fact she didn't like the idea of it. So that was her. And also she felt that the grants given to our recent recipients, and she was talking meetings and good companions probably, you know, why single them out for grants in essence was what she was saying. Saying why are they singled out for grants when there's lots of other local organisations? Simply because nobody else applied. Nobody else applied. It's as simple as that actually. It's a very simple equation. Which you know, and in fact there were 3 organisations actually we donated to. One was Re-Engage, and then there was Meet and there was Good Companions. So it was 3 actually. And the other charities were charities who get benefit, or people in Brent Knoll get benefit from, but are not local charities. So we did spread it out a little bit between those. But so they were 2 issues that were raised.
What were the issues at the front of the shop?
They just didn't like it. They didn't think it was a good idea for the village. They didn't want to see any more concrete on the front of the shop. They felt it was expanding the shop too far. Was that just
It was the increase in hard surface and lack of areas that you have water draining through.
It's down the list.
But
Did-
we'll
Yeah,
be,
it is something for discussion.
but we'll be discussing that
I was
as
going
well.
to say, we didn't discuss it at the last meeting.
No, it's on today's, so it had been seen on the agenda. And that's what had drawn it to their attention.
Okay, so that's all I've got there on that. And there's one correspondence on it. It's the one Colin, the Hart Road litter issue. There were some concerns about the amount of litter in Hart Road. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, you sent it out, and I said, yeah, it needs to be discussed. And the fly tipping was cleared actually today. The guy came to clear it.
Excellent.
So
Might keep an eye on
I don't know if you put a word in, but he came to empty the bin and clear the stuff. So,
Good.
yeah. So I did say thank
Just
you.
keep an eye on it. And,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's where I am so far. Project tracker, you've got a copy of the project tracker.
Yes, that was
So try and keep up to date as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us on to working groups, which footpaths, obviously we've got on the agenda later on discussion of the quotes we've got in for the works to the footpaths. But are there any other reports of footpath issues? One thing we tried to produce, I don't know whether is that large enough, or do we need someone to be able to produce it on an A5?
Yeah, what were those measurements I gave you? Like whatever I sent you, it's a bit bigger than that. I think it was 16 inches up and 12 across, up that way.
A3.
Yeah.
A3. That's
Does
it.
anyone
And
have an
it's
A3
inside the
printer
frame.
or can copy onto A3? Because unfortunately,
How fast do you want it?
well, it's taken about 3 months to get
No,
there.
it's
So.
okay, it's
If you-
yeah.
Lloyd,
No. I'm up in Oldham next week. We've got a printer.
Okay.
Can we get that? Yeah, can we get that?
If you can send me the file, send me the file.
Yeah, I can look up.
You send me the file,
Yeah.
and I'll get it. I'll print it.
Okay.
Amazing.
If not, I
And
don't
then
know
we
if somebody
should-
Johnson could do it as well. So,
Oh, okay. It's like, we should be able to just unscrew the thing, put it in and...
So this is to go up in the notice board that's on the pumping station at the top of where you head towards the farm. It says footpath, and there's a map in there at the moment, which is one of the old ones, which is so small you can't actually see it.
Yeah, but it needs a
It's all
new
blurry
frame.
The frame's a bit rotten.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you want
it
it,
was
do you want it
done-
laminated rather than framed?
yeah.
If you send it over, I'll get it.
I mean, it was done, well, years ago, years. Yeah, so,
Did you use your scribe to do it?
yeah, John Harper.
John
John
He gets blamed for everything.
Yeah, it's got, it looks like it, well, I don't know, probably 40 pieces, maybe take it off. But,
We could try and
yeah.
if we need to replace it with another one, we'll do that. At least we can get this one is a bit bigger in terms of what people can then see. We've tried to
Yeah.
focus more on the paths around the top of the knoll rather than the whole village, which when you look at the one.
If you want to
Just
send me the
makes
file
it
you've got,
detailed, yeah.
and then and tell me what you want, I'll get the team to print it off.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
just on footpaths, we have got. Given me an interactive. This here. That's not the interactive. That's just a picture. But there's an interactive version of that, which I've got on here now. So when we're talking about footpaths or whatever, we can hopefully point to them and see exactly what the
Yeah.
path number is.
And each one does have not only the path number, each individual style gate, whatever, has an individual number on it, so you can identify. It's the one that links to Somerset Council. Colin.
It's always been my request, and I keep forgetting to say it, but I think it would be a good idea at some stage to get some engraved labels with the numbers and actually put them on the styles. And then you know exactly which style you're referring to.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it would be a job well done. I'm happy to do it if you want me to source getting some labels done and get them fitted. But I think it would be a nice little project to do, and then you know exactly what you're referring to.
We did talk, didn't we, about having a working party to walk the footpaths, make sure the white marker posts, way markers everywhere, and everything's in the right place, and everything's obvious where people need to go, especially at the start of the summer now would be a good idea. So that would tie in with that. If we could do it all in one go, that would be a really good idea, wouldn't it?
And we'll have a dig through this map thing just to see what the numbers actually are for the things, so we
Yeah.
can work out that we got the corresponding
If
numbers.
you give me how many images you give me, just give me a list of what you think you want.
Yeah.
And we'll print them. Yeah, and you can, if they're not right, it's easy fix.
Okay.
That's it on there. That's just the interactive one. Actually, so you can see if you press on that, for example, you get style number, Okay.
That's really useful, isn't it?
And then if you go up here, same again, it's a bit different. When it comes up at the side, something I notice as well. So, well, it could be useful. We'll discuss
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
It doesn't seem to stick. I need to work it a bit, but that's the idea, is that that should be a useful tool to have in meetings. I'll try and make it a bit easier to operate.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Anything else footpaths wise?
Do you want me to look at that?
I think, Andy, you were saying you could create labels potentially if we tell you what the numbers are, or?
Yeah, but you don't want a printed label, do you?
No.
You want an enamel.
Oh, we just need to, okay. I just need
I'll
to
do
work out
all the maps you want.
So it looks like we're talking 5-digit numbers, aren't we, on each of us? That's what you seem to be showing, but we just need to work out what the numbers are so we can work out and then do it.
But if I get, oh no, it doesn't show the numbers, you have to put it interactive, doesn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, sorry. But what I'll do is I'll print a number of sizes and you tell me what you want printed. But I think the badges is something different, isn't
I
it?
mean, I could send you this interactive if you want me. I could send it to you.
You tell me what you want.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think I want the interactive one, but Colin might, and we need to sit down then and just go through the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm suggesting I do at the moment is I research getting the labels.
Yeah, what the cost would be of having those.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, please do that.
That's all I want to know.
Because it looks, just doing a quick, it's 50 to 100 there, isn't that? So,
I hear from a reliable source that Aryan signs can be quite good at things like that.
Well, we'll try and push the vote.
Are they still around?
Okay, thank you. Highways, anything that anyone's got?
Just a standard, bridges again. Yeah.
We have had correspondence back from highways. They've noted all 4 bridges. They've got them now on their to-do list. It's just getting around when they do the to-do.
Yeah. And someone's going to go in the ditch on Longham Road now as well because there's so many lorries coming down there. It's broke all the tarmac up and pushed in the edge more just past the end of obviously Cowslip Cottage.
Right.
And well, it's quite bad on and out. And when cars are coming down towards the village, cars are going up, people are braking and going over and they're going into the ditch. So it's going to cause a little accident there because someone's going to have the steering ripped out of their hands.
So you have to report that. It's just beyond council.
And I'm not blaming the traffic drivers.
I'll try to report it online as well, so you get into both directions. Okay. Anything else on highways? Okay. Village Green. Who was Village Green last
So
time?
that's me. Play equipment is all looking good. Safer surface is in poor condition. Under the swings, there are substantial potholes have appeared in it around the climbing frame and under the swings. Around the actual climbing frame, the bottom of the little slide, it's missing in places, and obviously kids have been pulling it up. There's still a big depression in the mugger, and the whole of the mugger was very, very waterlogged and squelchy. And there's obviously that dip in between where the grass finishes and the mugger starts. There's quite a lot of damage to the areas under the plastic picnic tables where people have been sat there in the wet weather, but I don't know what we do about that. There's a wooden bench in the corner. That's still a wooden bench there, but it looks absolutely fine. The only thing is that the village green in itself is the grass is really, really long, and obviously the contract doesn't start till April. But if it's not done now, and it continues to grow at this rate for the next 3 weeks, by the time he does start to do it, I think it's going to be like a hayfield.
Why are we starting in April?
There's no reason why
We've always.
Does he not start
It's
it?
in his current contract.
We've
When
always
is he
started
supposed to
March,
start it?
first of March, always.
Right.
he's certainly been in contact with everybody that he's got in his books to start this month.
That's good, yeah, because I know I phoned you the other day and said, when I was writing this, I said, when is it due to start? Because it's really long, and if it's not done quickly, by the time he's obviously going to do a high cut first, and it's already up over your shoes.
Yeah.
It's like that.
So our members happy that on that front, we double check the contract, but either we just remind him that he's due to start, or we ask him to do an early cut.
I think he needs to get on with it.
now.
It's certainly firm underfoot. It's not wet. There's no reason not to cut it. And also going up through that side, up the path side where the rubbish bin is, there's some vegetation overhanging, brambles or roses or something coming over, hanging right over. I don't know if we should go and cut that or if that's in something that's in the contract.
Say on the far side from
Yeah, where the rubbish bin side, there's some long stuff.
Part of the contract.
I think it is. I think it was.
Okay, so we
as
can just
well,
double
but,
check
We'll
with
check
that.
the dates on that.
yeah, it's
That's pretty
yeah. And the other thing is, I don't know if this would probably come in a working party, but the boundary of the car park out there is just getting really weedy again, where the leaf litter has obviously rotted down and there's weeds all growing in it. But I think that's something that we've done ourselves in the past. But it just could do with a little bit of spruce up, really. That's it.
Okay, I think also the ivy that's coming over the wall now is getting quite a long way down for cars. So
Oh, that, yes, that's quite bad there. But I dummy run that the other day, drove into it to see, and you can actually drive underneath it because it's not,
Yeah.
but if it gets lower down, you won't know where it is and you'll hit the wall.
Right.
I said I'd do that, but I just haven't had time to do it, but I will get around to doing that.
What, the ivy?
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
get
because
the
the
strip
birds
down.
nesting in it.
I've got to get permission to take it to the farm first, so because we've got nowhere else to dump it. Because it needs burning, so I'll
You
take it
can
to the...
fly tip it in Hart Road, apparently that's all right.
If we, well, as Amanda said, bear in mind, just give it a check, there's nothing
Yeah,
nesting in it.
because
Shouldn't
it's
be.
nesting birds now, so it's got... Well, I don't think we are allowed to touch them, because it's 1st of March, I don't think we are allowed to touch hedgerows. I think that was biological, wouldn't it, David?
Yeah,
Safety over rules.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, but you do need to make sure
Yeah.
that if
Yeah.
you have it, that we've checked that there's
Yeah.
nothing in there.
Yeah, it's pretty dense.
Yeah.
It is pretty dense.
Okay.
And it's, like you said, it's up the flagpole end, you can drive right up to the wall, it's okay, but
Yeah.
further down, it is overhanging quite a lot. But yeah, I think if we feel it's got out, then we have a sweep round and whatever.
Is someone happy to organise a working party?
Yeah.
Okay, you're happy to organise
Yeah,
that?
I'll
All right, you'll
organise
liaise with us. Okay. Anything else on village green?
You're on next one.
Next, okay. Just on the village green, play equipment. So Amanda mentioned obviously issues, but also you'll all have seen that we had a safety report that came through from GB Sports. You'll remember a little while ago we got some quotes from them for doing, it was 3 sets of work. One was the safer surface you should be mentioning under the climbing frame. There was the back board of the mugger, which again within his safety report he's highlighted that there are high dangers, the metal sticking out, and there was the abacus on the thing. And at the point last time when we discussed it, we said we would do it once we heard back on grants and such. We have now heard back from Nuttall. We've got
1,250.
1250. We're still waiting, obviously, to hear from the other charitable group that we've applied to. But bearing in mind this has now been raised, it's been highlighted now as an amber risk rather than a green risk. You need to watch this. I just wonder whether we ought to be getting on and doing it.
What was the quote again?
So the quotes were for the safer surface, which include us physically removing it, but then doing all the laying of it, was £4,436. The back panel of the mugger was 977, and the abacus was 456. All of those are plus VAT, but obviously we claim the VAT back.
So we're talking 4,000-ish, 4,500 after that.
No, you probably did 5.5.
5,500.
Because these are
Without VAT.
excluding VAT.
So-
So it's basically 5.5. It's between 5.5 and 6.
Okay.
What have we got in the budget for the play equipment?
Well, we're obviously putting in each year, we're putting in 2,500, of course. The actual budget at the moment has been quite quite tough because we used a lot of it for the big job we did with the aerial runway. But
How much have we got in there?
it's such an important area.
Yeah, how much have we got in there? No, we'll only have this year as well.
This year, yeah.
So 2.5.
Plus the national
So
grant.
plus the national makes
So we've got to put in about another 1,500 quid.
yeah, probably two and a half.
2.5.
If we take this.
But if we get the other grant we've applied for, that would then come and
But we
Yeah.
can't bank on that at this point. So
We
the
might
decision
get
is,
the
do we
idea
spend
rather
another 2.5?
It's
To be
where we
honest,
take
we
out
haven't got
reserves.
much choice, have we? We're going to have to do
Safe
it.
issue.
We're going to have to do it or fence it all off.
Yeah.
I propose that we do it.
I'm happy that we get on to it at the moment, and then obviously we'll replenish the reserves when we get into the new financial year. But that way, at least we know we've addressed the safety issues. So those in favour then that we go ahead with those 3 quotes.
Probably won't be done until the new financial year anyway. Now we thought
We've got the order in. At least we've taken the action to set
So,
things
so
going.
do we have to seal any of it because it's amber? There's no immediate danger?
So the fine is the ring bearing panel is damaged, leaving steel bars exposed at eye level for some users. Some of these sections have already been removed, others are now becoming bent and damaged. So what we could do is ask him on his next inspection to remove the next bit of the stuff that's bent, or if we cut off, we might end up having more of a problem. But yeah, I think that would, if we can ask them that they can come out and
So,
do
so we
that
need
work
some
short term.
immediate remedial
Yes.
action, don't we?
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So that takes us on to audit and staffing.
We need a new, coming towards the end of the financial year, we need an audit group meeting. We should have 2 a year. We had one, I think, last September. And I was wondering whether the 18th of March, which is our provisional meeting date, we could incorporate that in the same meeting.
Because you think we might have planning.
We definitely have a planning for that anyway. So if Andy and Colin, if you were available for that provisional meeting, and Bob, we could knock that audit meeting off either before the meeting or after, whichever suits you really. We can either do it till 6 o'clock, or we can do it, because the provisional meeting will probably only be half hour. So we could probably have a provisional audit meeting, I'd say 7:30, quarter to 8, if that's okay.
We'll be up in Oldham.
Well,
Yeah, it's a board meeting.
I could do 18th.
so are you happy to just Colin, as a council happy, just Colin and Bob to look after that? Okay.
If,
Obviously,
if we do it the Monday night before,
I'll get
the 16th, I can be around. And I'll go up on the Tuesday rather than up on the Monday.
to you,
If that's all right with you, Colin?
Yeah, just let me check
so
that.
the 16th, which is the Monday, is it?
It is, yeah.
Monday I might not be here, but then I'm happy for the two guys to do it.
Yeah, it's just I've got to be up on the 18th, we actually have the board meeting.
Yeah, it's probably better rather than.
Yeah.
What was that, the 16th?
16th, Monday,
Yeah, I
16th.
can do that.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
It was only a half hour report, that's all it is.
Excellent.
Just so we comply with the external rules.
What time, please?
Well, you tell me. Are you happy about 7 o'clock time? Is that, or would you prefer something earlier?
Just check with them as well.
Yeah, I'll need to check with venue, yeah. Monday night, is that right?
I don't know.
I'll check it out. If there's something on the venue, say, for example, in the evening, make it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check the venue.
I'll put it in for
So
7
it leave the
o'clock.
planning as well that night? Or
Sorry?
no, just
The
so
plan
someone
is
tells us the
still on
planning.
the 18th.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Perkins.
Sorry, what was that on the 18th?
That's the planning.
Provisional meeting. Provisional plan.
We're still having a meeting then.
Well, there is a plan that we weren't able to discuss tonight because it's too late for the agenda.
Could we not, if we've got to book the room for one night, just have them both on the same night, because otherwise we're going to pay twice, haven't we? Would it not make more sense to bung it all up together?
We could have it on the 16th, there's nothing to stop us having it on the 16th. If the 16th room is free, we can
That's
do
what I
it
was just going to
16th.
say, seems we've got to pay,
Yeah,
if we've got to pay for the
Okay.
room once, there's no point in
Yeah.
paying it twice for the sake of us.
I'm happy with that. If you are, I'm quite happy with that.
Okay.
16th
16th.
of March.
Absolutely.
Sorry for being a
That's
pain.
less. So, 16th. So if I just have a look at the trust.
I haven't looked at the planning application, so I don't know how much of a planning application it is.
But there is one.
There is one, yeah. I don't think it's a particularly significant one, but I don't know, I'm really
And you'll let us know the timing.
yeah, I'll sort that out with the whole bookings.
I'll make sure I'm down here.
It's
It's quite a fast drive to get here after the 7 driving from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we'll get some
Beware of
complaints from
the
the speeding
cameras,
committee.
Everywhere it can be.
Yes. Okay. Amy, any updates on flood action?
Been a couple, so we just got me and Randy's going to have to try to get the hall booked or this room booked, and then we can put it into the BKN and when the first meeting will be.
Have you got the dates for that, for booking?
No, that's what I mean. We just we're going to have to meet up.
Let me know and I'll book it for you.
Yeah, but it's,
Were we going to try and do it as a thingy, a presentation part of the?
well, that's what I was just saying. That's what, yeah,
If you give me your slides
We
and
get-
stuff, and I'll put that into some.
yeah, but that's what I mean. We've got to meet up at some time
Yeah.
to get all this stuff sorted,
Yeah, yeah.
so then we can get it to someone, get it in as a what do you call it?
PowerPoint.
Yeah, PowerPoint, and then we can book the room up.
If you've got any slides, that'd be useful, but if you give me just the paperwork that you want to do and highlight the bits you want, I'll put
Yeah.
into slides.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then we can get it into the BKN, and then obviously we can start the first meeting up. We've got Colin, you know, flood group. So there's a couple of residents.
Can we call it the anti-flood group? Because-
Call it Donald Trump if you want.
No.
So yeah, that's how far we got so far with that. Oh, and the email is changing it. If it's going to be in next month as well, he's changing the email.
So just the 16th, there is a meeting in here.
There is a meeting.
Yeah, you've got someone will do it all day until 5, and then someone else is in here. 6,
Not that, I
30.
think. Yeah, it's not right.
Not if you have it, but
No.
Jubilee. And the rest of the hall's booked out as well. But I'll leave you if you want to circulate some dates.
Yeah, I'll certainly. But probably try and do it in one, if we can.
It's cheaper, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay.
Anything on IT?
No, because our IT working group not here tonight either. So, and there's nothing, I mean, there's a bit of stuff on the website, which I've obviously sort of highlighted a bit anyway. So yeah, there's no meeting taking place yet.
Okay.
On
Policy updates. I think we've all had a number of policy
Yeah.
updates. So
Sorry
take us through those.
Sorry to bombard you, it's just, I'm very keen to find out from SLCC what policies, if any, we were missing. The main one that we were probably missing was the data protection one. So privacy policy and data protection. I mean, you can go on forever writing policies. I mean, for example, I quoted Taunton earlier on. I think they've got 29 policies documents on their website. Now, that's ridiculous for a council this size. But what we need to have is make sure we've got the important ones. And the important ones are data protection, internal controls, which is something that was pinpointed last year, that we've done it on March the 31st the previous year and hadn't covered the current year. So I've corrected that this year and saying we need to approve it in this meeting to cover this year. Okay. And risk management and the reserves policy, which of course you had a look at last month, and which I sent out to everybody. It's over to you really. I mean, there's a couple of little changes that Bob has pointed
Yeah,
out.
we put a couple of deliberate errors in there just to see whether you read them. On data privacy, it made reference to district and county council where there aren't any more, so it's just Somerset Council, so we changed that. And on the data protection, it said we were New Holland Parish Council.
Which is in Essex, of course, and nowhere near here.
So
Because these are not, I mean, believe it or not, I don't sit down and write these policies, they are actually templated policies, which I take from
destroying the illusion.
Very disappointing.
and obviously I missed something on that one. So that ought to be changed.
But I think we should leave the other one back in because we should move away from the unitary. It doesn't work. Can we minute that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless you've got any issues with any of the policies.
We know that because the councillor that came spent, or the politician that came, spent the whole day talking about old age pensions when we asked them. So.
Okay, so we've got, just to run through, you have circulated the data privacy
Data protection,
privacy notice, the data protection policy,
internal controls,
yeah, and
risk management,
reserves policy.
and reserves. Yes, 5 actually. So,
Does anyone have any changes they wish to bring forward? If not, are you happy that we adopt those again for the following year?
Yeah.
All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous.
and the plan I had, because we've got a lot of policies, and some of them have been reviewed recently, some haven't. I thought maybe the best thing to do is divide them up into, say, 4 meetings a year, so quarterly, and take the financial ones early on in the year, because that's important. The sort of statutory ones, like code of conduct, standing orders, take those in July after the May election meetings. So try and break them up so that they all get covered during the year, but on a quarterly basis. That's something I will try and work with.
Just check out, there's this statement of internal control. Will that come up later, or is that?
I think it might do, actually, it comes up twice, I think.
Because I think I need to sign that one
Yeah, the internal controls one you
once we've.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So that's policy updates.
Report
From Somerset. Okay, so I'll keep it very brief. We had actually full council today, which was interesting. So the state situation is we have, as a council, agreed to put up the council tax by 4.99%. The government didn't allow us, as you've probably seen in the press, to go up to 11% more. There is still a shortfall of about 30 million for this. Well, there's 25 million shortfall, and a further 5 million has been requested for us to be able to sell assets to the tune of 30 million to pay for revenue funding. 25 million of that is to fill the shortfall, and 5 million is to go for further transformation costs. What that will mean is that for next year, the forecast is, before we've even started this year, there will be about a £60 million shortfall for next year, because obviously you've got increased forecast of costs, and the 25 million we are selling assets to do this year will be still a shortfall in the budget for next year. Government sent us what I think would be fair to say was a fairly stroppy note back saying, yes, you can have it, but the implication very much was, don't come back again. This is the 3rd year you've now had this, you shouldn't be doing it every year. So we are being pretty much put on notice that if we haven't got it sorted by this time next year, then we are in trouble. What they have said is they are still, though, because they don't feel that Somerset has moved as fast as it should have done, or as they said, haven't acted at pace that we should have. They are going to send in someone to take an overall look at what's going on and how we're operating, and if they think we need further advice, they may send us an advisor, which we get to pay for. But we'll see how that one progresses. In terms of today's meeting, it was slightly farcical at points because the main opposition group, the Conservative group, did put forward an alternative amendment to the budget, having been advised what we needed to do, only to be told at the meeting that officers hadn't fully assessed the impact that might have on the budget. Therefore, were it to be taken, it would be potentially illegal because it hasn't had all the risk assessments and everything done. So there is an ongoing discussion, I think, in the council as to why, if we were allowed to put it in by the deadline, we were told that they then couldn't carry out the works that they said they needed to do. So, needless to say, none of the suggestions that were put forward were adopted, but we will see how that goes. The other thing that was raised was special educational needs. Government has offered a bit of a lifeline. We currently have £116 million of overspend on special educational needs, which has built up over the last few years. The previous government came up with the cunning plan that if you just put it off book, it doesn't really matter and we'll deal with that later. Yeah. So all local authorities have been doing this for a number of years. It was supposed to come back onto the books in 2026, by which they hope they'd have a cunning plan as to how to deal with it, and it
Or not
hasn't.
be in power.
Yeah. So the current government have now extended that to 2028 and have said that they've announced nationally that they will potentially fund up to 90% of the overspends that have happened up until 2026. So for us, that's 90 odd million that they will offset. We've got to find the balance. But they will only do that if you come up with a plan as to how you're going to deal with the shortfall that you've got, plus the ongoing shortfalls. Because the estimate at the moment is that by the time we get to 2028, we've got 2 more years, they think there will be a further £70 million overspend in the same budget in Somerset. So we've got to come up with a plan as to how we address that. And the government haven't said they'll give us 90% of those 2 years. They said they'll talk to us about it at the time. So there is still this sort of sword of Damocles hanging over the authority, because were any of that to be put back on our books, we, like probably 30 or 40% of other local authorities, would hit the 114 notice, because we simply don't have that sort of level of reserves to cover the outstanding debt. Slightly more local potholes. As I mentioned, I think at the last meeting, we were trying to catch up with the backlog of potholes because of the wet weather. It doesn't facilitate doing good repairs because it doesn't bind. So what they've been doing in the meantime is going around putting something in the holes to keep it going, and then coming back to do a proper repair once it's dried out, which is why you'll see there's now going to be a lot more sudden repairs going on. There are actually double the number of teams out there doing potholes, have been for the last couple of weeks. So they're hoping to start turning the tide on the number of potholes, but it has been an absolute epidemic this year. There are 4 times as many potholes at this time being dealt with as there were this time last year. So apparently the weather we've had has been perfect for creating potholes because of the not many cold days, but a few cold days and quite a lot of damp. Whereas if it's very cold, apparently that's not so bad. It's the combination. So hopefully that's going to be carrying on. Do use the pothole app if you want to on the through the website. It does get responded to, and they do actually tell you what's going on. So you might see there's a few white lines around the village. Wick Lane was mentioned earlier, which were ones that I've sort of passed on through the app. So the more the merrier. The other thing I was just going to mention was just to say 2 things actually. We've been updated that there's a couple of planning changes that government are bringing in. So they're bringing in, rather like they used to with the regional spatial strategies, they're now bringing in another regional based strategy, which will, for us, include us potentially with the Wessex area, which is Somerset, Dorset, Wiltshire, Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. And they will be looking to come up with that will be affecting things to do with planning, but it will also potentially be impacting funding coming from government over transport, skills, housing, economic development, environmental health and public safety. So it's in effect creating another tier between the unitary and government, having got away with the tier that was between county and parishes. So that's currently underway. And the last thing I was going to mention was the boundary situation. I remember raised a few months ago the changes to the boundaries for Somerset. We were waiting for the final say from the Boundary Commission. It came out yesterday. So they've pretty much gone with what they had suggested. It's going to be 96 seats across Somerset. 90 of those are going to be single member wards. 3 are going to be double members, which doesn't affect us here. The nearest one will be Cheddar, which will be sort of Cheddar, Axbridge, Shipham, Compton Bishop, all in one very big ward. But apart from that, so our area will be as was proposed, and I think we said we were generally very happy with, which is the current Brent seat, but losing Berham and Breen to Burnham and losing Compton Bishop to Axbridge and Cheddar. So there's now 7 parishes in there. Edithmead will come with us. Watchfield goes in with the Mark and Wetmore seat, and the urban bit of Burnham goes in with Burnham and Highbridge, which might potentially foretell possible parish boundary changes, because we've been advised that potentially all the parish boundaries and see if there are boundaries that might make sense to move. So places like the Tesco estate, which currently sit in Burnham without, there might be a push to say, well, actually, that's more like Burnham. You ought to go that way. The residents will have to be consulted. Last time Sedgemoor consulted them, it was an overwhelming, no, we don't want to go in with Burnham. And since then, we're now in the position, I think Burnham without council tax is £20 a year. I think Burnham's is about £220 a year for a poundy. So council tax can't be a reason for saying no, but if they can come up with good community reasons why they don't want to go in with Burnham, that might be something that we'll see happen. But that will be happening across the patch, because obviously places like Taunton, Bridgewater have seen a lot of growth in the rural areas around, and they get a bit grumpy because they say we pay for the services, and then people come in from outside and use them without having to pay the council tax. But we will wait and see how that goes. But that's something we might need to keep watching 2027-ish. Because I know in the Boundary Commission report, Burnham Without got slightly stroppy, because Burnham had actually suggested to the Boundary Commission they ought to make that change now and let Burnham Without go in with Burnham. So Burnham Without said thank you very much, but no. But any questions if anyone's got on Somerset issues? With very much small p, but yes, it's going to get fairly heated, I think. Finances, and that's
right. So just kicking off with the statutory payments. This is the last statutory payment for this financial year, March 26. This is our normal statutory payments that are listed at the beginning of each financial year. So just need approval for that last one to be moved forward.
That's the list, yes.
That's the new one, actually. That's a new one, 2027.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, which is very
I was
similar.
just saying, just payments of the
We've got one more left because that starts in April.
Okay. Gotcha.
So just got one more to approve for this year. Okay. And there are no changes to it. It's exactly as been before.
All happy we pay that. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's variable payments, and we've got now there's some difficulty here because we've got on here aubergine £72. That's for the email domain.
Yeah.
But I've had today a statement for all of the work that they've been doing. But it's only come today. I'm not envisaging we should pay it, but I think what we should do is perhaps give approval for it to be paid when it's completed, because the problem is one of them has been outstanding because I refused to submit it because it was 23rd of December 2025, and at that stage they hadn't done anything. They had not put anything together at all. So I said, come back to us when you've done a bit more. Well, hopefully by the end of March they would have completed it. So
just checking, that's a statement. Have we actually had
we've had invoices
for those?
for them as well, yeah. Okay. So these are the three payments that are outstanding. There's one for the WCAG website, which is £588.80. Then we've got an annual email one, which is £72, and then we've got an additional £168 for additional material, which they put on over and above what their standard charges were. So the totality of what they're saying the whole thing costs is £838.80.
What was the last one again?
It's for additional items, because they came back to us some time ago and said, you've got loads of additional items on your website, which will cost you more money. And I said, look, to be perfectly honest with you, you have to go ahead and do the job completely. You can't break that off. You've got to do the whole thing. So I'm not suggesting for 1 minute we pay them £838 at this moment, but they're giving me to pay them £72 for the email domain, because that's completed.
Could I just make a suggestion, which would be, if we go with what we've got on the agenda, we're going to be having this interim meeting in 2 weeks' time. We can put that on that agenda, and at least it's been through the proper process.
Happy with that, yeah. The other one, there's another awkward one here, is ICO, Information Commission's Office. We have to pay each year £40 to them for being signed up to ICO. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we just caught it between years, and I've always postponed it to April, because otherwise we would end up paying 2 in 1 year. Well, they're getting a bit stronger with us because they're saying every year you're in default for a month, and you need at some stage to settle the correct one at the correct time. So I'm going to suggest, let's keep ICO happy that we pay this one £40, even though I've only just had this letter in from them, and get ourselves back on the track again. So when we come to 2026-27, it'll come in again in March, and there'll have only been one for that financial year, whereas this one would make two in this financial year, because we deferred last year's one to April, and so we've got one for April this year, and now one for March this year. I think to get on track at some point, we're going to have to pay two in 1 year, and because it's quite an important one with ICO, they don't tolerate things very much. I just think
to keep us straight, we're having this interim, can we put that on?
Put that on, yeah,
Because
put
then
that on
again,
March
we
as
will
well.
have advertised it, anyone in the
Yeah,
village can
yeah.
see it, and we don't get.
We've also got the other ones here from AID.
Can we do the same with
Can
that?
we do the same
Put
with
those on the
those?
agenda?
Are you happy with that?
So this is the cost that we asked Aid to get on with and have his working party, which we'll get to later, about the fence down at Middle Street, which is now looking really good. So we've just got the cost that Aid incurred in terms of, which he highlighted to us about the concrete and something else.
Okay.
The fence post ones that we use for stakes.
Yeah. Sure, as long as you're happy with that, 2 weeks basically, and we'll approve it.
Interest, yeah, anyway.
Okay, well,
Okay.
that's again itemized.
There's also another item on the agenda, fit graphics for speed cameras. This was something that we did some time ago. We agreed to Stuart to do that. There's strips that go on the back of the speed
Because
cameras.
after they, remember we got, the thing got hit, and he suggested to us that we ought to get reflective things to put on the back of it so that it could. Colin?
I bought him a whole roll of reflective tape some time ago.
And what happens to that then? Because he obviously.
He specifically asked for it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, he hasn't paid it. We've got to pay the supplier actually. So, and obviously there's some VAT involved in that as well. So 76 is the gross figure. So the net figure will be something less than that. So that's that one. There's also a short-term invoice from Decision Power for our website for January, February, because we're still sending them stuff to go on the website.
Because that was agreed as an extension.
It was
We
agreed
do it
extension.
per month.
What Dave has asked me for now is to whether we want to continue it for an additional month of March, because I think that's quite important to do that, because otherwise we're going to be without website. So this is the January and February, so there'll be a sort of smaller one for the March payment in April, okay, which you invoice me for. And then the final one there is the agreement we reached with Robert Smith of the community shop for energy use, taken from our supplementary meters and the water use. We sat down and we worked out what we thought to be a reasonable plan of payment. In fact, very difficult to compare anything like for like, because of course, as you know, when we go back 2 years ago, not only were energy costs soaring, we weren't on any contracts, and we were never quite sure how much the shop was using and how much we were using. It was a little bit on this. But this figure of 531 does take account of what we think is slightly higher electricity than would normally be the case. There's probably a couple of reasons for that, but we think one of them, as Bob pointed out this evening, is the thermostat.
Yes, so basically what this is based on, as Owen was saying, is as we agreed in the lease, that in effect the electric is through the shop. We've got a sub-meter which tells us how much we've used. So this is the unit cost multiplied by the number of units that we've had. So it is definitely what we've used. There was a bit of a peak in electricity use in the run-up before Christmas, which we think was because we also remember we had some work done for the installation of the benches and also for the cycle racks. So there was electric machinery that was being used, plugged into our kit by Paul when he did that work for us, and we think that might have done it. There's also, we've had a look at the thermostats that were set on the heaters, which are now set lower than they were set. So that I think hasn't held up, which is again why in the winter it's suddenly shot up a bit. So we're now doing one. It has gone down since, and we are now doing monthly readings for exchanging the shop. And offset against this is equally we've got a meter that monitors how much water goes to the shop. We get we pay the main bit, they get to have been charged at the rate per unit for the amount of water that they've had. So this is the balance between those two.
So deducted the water, obviously electricity. So they're the main payments and the variable payments anyway. So it's the main £72, it's fit graphics, speed camera £76.80, short-term invoice for decision power £100, and shop energy water invoice £531.40. So they're the four main variable payments.
Is there a proposal that we pay those? Thank you. All those, seconded, Amanda, all those in favour? Okay, that's unanimous.
Thank you very much indeed. Other financial matters, I circulated earlier today the payments for February, something we now do as a regular thing, just so you can see what payments were actually made from the banking system off Scribe. Budget update I haven't done for March because of course we're now at the end of the financial year and we'll be doing a full set of accounts very, very soon. So by the time we come to the April meeting, you'll have a full set of accounts, which will tell you about what's going on. And then there's a new statutory payment list, which I circulated earlier. And on that, this is the statutory payment list that we work with through the year. And on there, there's standing orders, JP Mayo, Inclease, Incleans, just Nichols facilities.
What it looks like, so you should have had that come through.
Came through today. These are all standing orders I would normally set up at the beginning of a financial year. So Staff Salaries, GB Sports, Nichols Facilities, Inclean, and JP Mayo. So they're all as per agreed. Those three cleaning contracts, the village contract and the SID contract have all been agreed. In fact, SID and Incleans are no change, actually they're the same as last year, with a little bit of an increase in JP Mayo, which was agreed back in whenever it was, October. And then the direct debits that we have from our account, which we have absolutely no control of, PWLB, which is our loan, HMRC, which is tax and NI commitments, and water to business, which is our water rates, and that's a variable direct debit. So the end was then you take out what the bill is. It's not a statutory one, and that's really three parts of it. And there's one Somerset bin contract which is not going out next year, £608. That's been confirmed as being the same rate. So they're all the statutory payments that just come from our accounts monthly, quarterly, or whatever.
So is everyone happy to approve those, which were the ones that we have to reapprove each time they come up with a meeting?
If there are any changes to those, we're obviously it's my obligation to tell you that there is a change. So should anything within that be different, I can't think of anything at the moment that would be different. But if it was, then I would come back to you with that change.
Okay. All those in favour, then please show. That's carried.
Thank you. And I think that's it on finance.
Okay, so that brings us on to Styles bridge repairs. So Amanda, I think we have to. Yeah. So you remember at the last meeting, it was the last meeting, it might be more before, we talked about the repairs that were needed on a couple of footpaths. One which was the path opposite the tennis courts, where there were two big bridges, and we were looking at putting replacement gates on as opposed to the stiles that are currently there. We then looked at the path that runs opposite the Red Cow, and there are a number of ditch crossings which have some dodgy bridge elements, but also missing handrails and that side of things. And then we also had previously discussed replacement of a gate up at Manor Farm, which was a pedestrian access gate, which we agreed we were going to replace it with a Bristol gate because there had been some security issues up there. So it's going to be one of the metal gates, whereas at the moment it's a wooden gate, which doesn't work particularly well. And we also, at a further previous meeting, had representations from a resident who got a problem with the footpath that headed over towards Burton Row, and we arranged to get 2 kissing gates supplied. And we've now had quotes for doing all of these elements of work. So if I can take you through, we've had 2 quotes that came in. There has been a bit of a development in terms that we heard this today, actually, it was from Chris East at Somerset, that in terms of the bridges that are down on the path opposite the tennis courts, he is going to end up replacing those bridges, and he is going to end up paying for the replacement of those bridges and the installation, which we thought we would have to pay the installation. That's now not going to be the case.
Who is he?
Chris East is the footpath guy from Somerset Council. So we often approach him because Somerset have the responsibility for maintenance of the paths, but not the keeping them clear and tidy, but they keep where the paths are, and they are responsible for particularly things like bridges. Generally, they will put that back onto the landowner for them to sort stuff out. And we as a parish, obviously, in the past have helped out with doing stiles and gates in the past. But in a way of acknowledging that, what Somerset will do is they often will supply us with the actual parts as long as we pay for the labour for having it done. But on this particular instance, he's now said that they are going to be dealing with the whole thing. So they may end up having to come and collect the 4 gates from where we've got them currently stored at Ham. But there was some doubt about what was happening with the bridges, and as I say, today we've had it now confirmed from Somerset that they're taking responsibility for sorting those out.
I don't suppose they told us when.
No, but I think it is fairly imminent. I think they want to get on with it. On the other path, which is the sort of the Red Cow path, there are 4 sleeper crossings which the 2 sets of contractors have quoted for. The one contractor had 2 of them for replacement. Well, one further thing I should clarify before I do this. Both of the contractors we asked about putting non-slip surfaces on. They have now come back and are not necessarily sure as how effective these non-slip surfaces will be. So the quote I've got here from one of them, he has said take £140 off each quote because he was putting £140 on for doing the non-slip. But if we didn't go ahead with that, which he's not guaranteeing will work, so he was sceptical about doing it. So he has said 2 of the bridges were £380, so that's £240 plus VAT. That included hand and knee rails to be put in as well. And the other 2 he quoted for replacing with 1 extra sleeper, hand and knee rails, and that was £604 plus VAT for each of those, so you would reduce that to £464 plus VAT. The other contractor has quoted for 4 crossings to remove existing wooden stiles on one of them and install a Stafford gate and 2 knee-high rails, £260. Second one to install a replacement railway sleeper and a handrail which needed replacement and 2 knee-high rails was £200. The third crossing was to replace 2 top rails and 2 knee rails on the side handrails, and that was £140. And the fourth one was also the same, 2 top rails and 2 knee rails, £140. Yeah. Colin.
Are they quoting like for like? Because, with respect, I went through every item. I've got a detailed analysis of every item, and when you say, can you give me the one?
Yeah.
Can you just go through it again?
Yeah.
Give crossing 1427.
Yeah. So that was for the one quote, that was £240 without doing the anti-slip, and that was hand and knee rail. That was being done.
And how much is the alternative quote?
That's with just the hand and knee rails. That was the 140, so it's £100 less.
Okay. 1426.
So with that one, there was a sleeper being installed in that one by both, and that was £200 for the one and 464 for the other.
And 464 for the other. Well, what sleepers is he installing? Softwood or hardwood? Because the one that's there that's rubbish is softwood.
Yeah.
That's why I was told that it would be a hardwood sleeper, which would be far better. The other thing is, on the gate issues, there's one gate that is wooden, and it was agreed that it would be replaced because he's got a gate that he could put there anyway. And the only other place where it needed a gate in particular was the stile that leads into the field, that leads into the rough field at the back of the house that's just been sold. That's where a new gate is required. So I'm not sure that you're quoting like for like.
I mean, in terms of the gates, there is a difference in the sense that on one of them there is the removal of the stile and replacement with the Stafford gate
Plus into the rough field.
The other one was looked at, and it was felt that one didn't necessarily require a replacement gate, but it needed to be.
Yeah, the hinge needed rebolted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was.
But Stephen said, "I've got a spare gate. I'll put in a new gate in." So he said it didn't really matter. So can you give me the quote of the revised person?
So for the first bridge, which was the one with the replacement Stafford gate as well, the rough field, and two knee rails, that was 260. The second crossing, which was replacement sleeper, and he did say it was hardwood, didn't he, when we were on site, and that was a replacement one top rail and two knee rails, that was 200. And then the next two crossings were both just replacing top rails and knee rails at £140 each. £740. So the one in effect is quoted £740, and the other, if you wanted to take them like for like, because the second quote has put on two new sleepers in, put on two different bridges. But even if you took them down to say it was one new sleeper, that would be 720, 1100, about 1180.
But they aren't doing exactly the same thing, are they? So I got a bit lost in there. They're not doing exactly the same thing. They're not quoting exactly the same way on the same job.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
The only difference is the one where then in effect they're giving us a gate rather than repairing a gate.
Yeah. Okay. So where did this free gate come in?
It's all right. Forget it.
The free gates, because there is a gate at the moment that's got a hinge that it's where the bracket goes onto the gate, it's loose. So it's going to be replacing that bracket rather than replacing the whole gate and leaving it
And
alone.
the gate is okay still, is it?
Yeah.
So it just needs a bracket, replace it? Don't need a gate?
The idea was that it's wood and it would go in time, therefore put a metal gate on, and it's done and it's dusted.
Which seems to make sense.
It doesn't
Do it once.
It doesn't.
So is the free metal gate, forgive my terminology, is that in 1,000 or 700?
that's in the thousands.
So it's not free. It has a cost. Well, I think this comes down to, as well, which of the two operators, because I don't know them, would we guarantee the work with? Which is the better operator?
Both are equal.
I think
No, one we can choose over the other one.
I think they both do work for other parish councils. They've got credentials, both of them.
Yeah, so they're even. So it's quite a big difference. 300, that's 30, 35, 36%.
Yeah. I mean, on the other two quotes, again, there's some similarities and some differences. So on the Bristol Gate installation, the more expensive on the other one quoted 480 and the other quoted 400. On the Kissing Gate installation, which both of them were given photographs and what 3-word locations to tell them where they were. The more expensive on the other one quoted 380, and the other quoted more. I'm just trying to find it. 850. The only thing was that one simply said 2 Kissing Gate installation, the other said provide labour materials for removal of old wooden stiles, trimming hedge, levelling site and installation of new pedestrian kissing gates on the footpath, concreting in and tying into existing fencing.
And that was the expensive one.
So that was 850, and the other was 380. So contractor A, who was the most expensive on the bridge work, was the cheaper on the kissing gates he was half what the other guy was. But
Which is the like quote.
that I don't know.
exactly what they're doing.
Well, we know one because Hebraids always do it.
Yeah,
They
yes.
don't know do it. It's installed
The description on one is 2 times kissing gate installation, 380 plus that. The other one, the same thing, is quite a detailed.
Picked up the members.
Can we be cheeky and employ both of them, but just to do the cheap bits on each?
Yeah.
Because it seems logical to me that, you.
Well, I think that, Andy, on the work where the 4 bridges are 4 stars, really that person should do that whole lot so they gain access wherever they're going to get access from. That's why I would let the cheapest person do that work. To be honest with you.
Seems logical to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're saying the bridge ones would all go with contractor B, the cheaper of the 2. The Bristol Gate, which is up at Manor Farm, contractor B again is the cheaper one there, but the Kissing Gate one, contractor A is the cheaper. So do we go with him on the Kissing Gate? But as I say, it may well, the only other thing might be is he might come back to us and say, well,
It's not enough work.
It's a package of work,
Yes.
not an individual.
And contractors think about this stuff.
What was the downside of the 700? In anybody's opinion? I got confused at what Kissing Gate and stuff is, so please forgive me.
What I find unbelievable is that the Bristol gates and the Kissing gates were more or less, but amazingly, the people doing the bridges is half what the original was. There's a problem there. If someone, either he's charging too much or they're not charging enough.
Which charging and not charging enough is a problem.
I mean, am I getting hardwood rails? Am I getting hardwood sleepers?
On the cheap one.
Yeah.
So if we go back on the cheap one and
Yeah.
stress that it must be hardwood,
Yeah.
does that work?
Because it doesn't say in there then, no? It doesn't say nowhere in there what it's going to be then.
On either.
Not in terms, no. But I mean, when he was,
I know, but we did discuss the sleepers.
Yeah, because they're not stupid enough to put softwood in anyway.
Well, that's what's in there.
Exactly, yeah. They're not stupid enough
That's
to put
what's
softwood
on,
in
isn't
there.
yeah, that's the point.
So if we go with the 700 and say, but it must be hardwood sleepers, if they come back and say we need to re-quote, then
Yes.
we have to come back.
Absolutely.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Are you sure that's 700? Because you gave me 140, 260, 464 and 200. That doesn't...
No. So the figures for him was 260 for the first crossing, 200 for the second crossing, and 140 each for the third and the fourth crossings. The 464 was the other contractor.
Okay, right, okay. Thank you. Yep, okay.
Okay, so can I have a proposal as to how we proceed? So,
Proposal is the lower quote of the two,
Yeah.
providing it is for hardwood.
okay. All those in, so we're dealing at the moment with the Brent Knoll path.
Yeah.
Okay, so all those in favour of that, please show. And any against? Okay, that's carried by majority. Then we have the Bristol Gate installation at Manor Farm, which is, as I say, the cheaper one is contractor B, who we've just gone ahead with. On the other one was £400 and £480 for the other.
Do we know what the difference is on the 80, or is it just straightforward? Is the spec the same?
That's what I was going to say, what's he written down?
So in terms of, because the more expensive one, again, as I say, he was sent pictures and the 3 words for him to inspect. And all he has put is Bristol Gate installation on Knoll Path, 480 plus VAT. The other one has said Hill Lane reference AX814, provide labour plant, gate posts and fixings for the removal of old wooden farm access gate, pedestrian gate and old posts, and replace with new gate posts, 15-foot Bristol gate, which we've already got from Somerset, and tie into existing fencing.
What does all that mean?
Install the gate, that's pretty.
So basically taking out the old gate that's there,
And putting a new
putting
one
in a brand new, putting on a new one, on a new post.
Which I think we said hardwood sleepers for the post.
So again, if we stress it has to be hardwood sleepers.
Yeah. Okay, so those in favour, then we go ahead then with the £400 quote. Those, that's contractor B. All those in favour, please show. And any against? That's again by a majority. And then we have the kissing gates, which is contractor A, 2 kissing gate installations, £380 plus VAT. And the other one was the £850, which is labour materials, removal of old wooden stiles, trimming hedge, levelling site, installation of new pedestrian kissing gates on footpath, concrete tying into existing fence.
It seems too big of a disparity. They're obviously not quoting the same. And the more expensive one, is that necessary? And the cheaper one is not is missing it, or is or there's not enough detail in
It's
the
the
decision.
850, but they're both divided by 2, I suppose, because there's 2 of them.
But even if you divide by 2,
Yeah, it's I would, in my mind, that's too cheap, the one. I think that's
that's what I'm saying.
that is really cheap. But
So-
what's
A is going to do the same as B.
Hang on. How much did the charges, how much did contractor A charges for the last kissing gate he put in? He didn't, it was cheap, and he knows what he's doing. That's the point.
were they kissing gates or Stafford gates? Because we haven't got any kissing gates in recently, I don't think.
No, but he does know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you.
both contractors are good
Contract-
contractors. There's no question on their quality.
What I don't understand
Colin,
is.
it isn't. We've had quotes come through.
No,
so
I
put in front of
propose
you.
contractor A to do the kissing gates at 360, which he's quoted.
What I was going to say before I was interrupted was A was a cheaper one, you say,
On this, yes.
right, and B was a dearest one.
Yes.
But who was the one that was going to do all the cutting around, leveling that up? That was B, was it, or was that A?
Do we do the same thing we did on the other one? Potentially go for the cheaper quote, but go back and say, can you confirm that you are taking out the styles, you are
Because
fitting
it's
in
not,
with the
it's
hedge?
not, the cheap one hasn't said what he's going to do, is he?
No.
He's just said, I'm going to fit it.
Yeah.
And the question is, one, do we need to do all that work and pay for it? And question two is, have you considered that in your quote at £400? Surely we've got to have an even quote.
Absolutely. So I think that would be not unreasonable to go back to them and say, yes, the
My
cheaper one.
only point would be, and I'm coming in completely biased because I don't know either,
Look at it.
is that the B quote is just more detailed on everything.
Yeah, and that's my concern on this, is what do we actually need doing? And is both of them quoting on what, so normally what we would do now is we've got the quotes in, we would now go back and go, okay guys, this is an idea, okay guys, this is what we want, re-quote against what we want. Which then they've got to give the detail. So we give them the detail, and then there is no confusion, is there? Because at the moment, one's given us a one-line, and the other one's given us justification for being very expensive. And yet you can't be 35% out quoting on the same jobs.
That's the point I made initially.
It seems a lot, doesn't it?
I mean, do we then, let's say, we can go back to A, who at the moment is the cheaper, and in effect ask him, as we did on the other one, confirm he was hard work, make sure this one is doing what we think needs to be done.
Yeah.
And therefore, if he says yes, then I would have thought we just go ahead with this guy because he's putting
Because
a
he's
better
cheaper.
quote. But if he comes back and says, oh, I didn't realise I had to do all that, then we're back to look at it again.
Yeah, because what we don't want to do is to spend the money and then somebody say, but you haven't done all this work.
Yeah.
And we've got to spend more money. So yeah.
I mean, if you remember, we had someone who came and spoke to us about these kissing gates, which was the one where they got problems with animal access and people were damaging around the stiles. So that was why it was taking out stiles and replacing. So he may have built that into his quote. If he has, then absolutely fine. But if he hasn't, then he needs to tell us. But our members happy then that we go back to A and say, yes, providing you're
Okay, with the specification
dealing
on
with
the other.
all these other issues that need to be sorted.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favour of that, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? One abstention. Okay.
What I would do is, once we've established that, I'll obviously send out the purchase order to you first, everybody, so you can see exactly what we're putting in purchase order for. So is there any changes or anything you're not happy about?
No, I don't think it's changes. I think just trying to relate it to my lifestyle, what I do. It's almost, God forbid, a spreadsheet, but it is almost this gate, these pieces of work, this gate, these pieces of work. You said £400, you said £800. Then we can justify spending £400. And if the guy doesn't do the work,
No, I suppose we need to write a specification. Because that's what I got sent on the other day, and it was fair enough for parish council actually about some drainage, and they literally had put, we want this there, and measurements down to the next 10 mil.
Yeah, and if we've got enough data there to put that into a spec sheet
Yeah.
with your knowledge, then we can go back to them and say, right, you've quoted these prices, this is what we want, and we're prepared to spend that. And then if they come against that, or don't deliver to that spec, then we've got a claim not to pay, because it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what we need to quote.
And you know, we're saying these guys are good workers and professionals, but that's not a quote. Neither of those are quotes, really.
Colin.
Mr. Chairman, I think if we ask for quotes for work going forward from now on, we should do it a bit more professionally. And I would suggest that when we ask for quotes, they have to be in by a certain day to a certain person at a certain time. Because, and I'm not, I just think that is the fair way of pricing for work, which is the standard way of pricing for
I
work.
was going to say standard. That's what everybody would expect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. I
Say
think
no more.
we just got to be a little bit
Yeah.
smarter about it. But where we are now, we've got enough there to put. If you want me to put it into a spreadsheet for you, then I'll send it to you. They'd have a look at it and say, no, you need to add, because I don't know what I'm talking about in the detail.
If you read out, I mean, our financial regulations make it very clear about how we operate with tenders. And I guess we've just got to adhere more to the way that lays it out.
Guys, it's, you know, that we all come from different backgrounds. It just seems to me that if you're going to ask me for money, the first thing I would say is what's your specification, and then we can have a conversation, because we don't know. And again, I come back to two of us don't understand any of the terminology, so we don't know what we're being asked about. I don't know. Am I spending money I don't need to, or I'm not? And I can only take the guidance.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Serious points and come back.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, let's hope she doesn't come up with a different idea. But we could look at a way that we do a project.
Chair, over here.
I know.
I'll get some copies of them
Yes.
and fire it to you and see what we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cold.
Next time that happens, I want a chair.
You'll be glad to know we finished talking about it.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Okay, so the next one is Middle Street Friends Working Party.
Yeah, it's after 14 years, whatever.
So thank you very much.
Me and David, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it took us 3.5 hours to do it. We had to chop off about 4 foot of white fencing because it was totally snatched and we repaired some of the fencing with joiners and that lot, and then put new struts at the bottom, concrete them in. I still got one little one to do, but I'll get around doing that. That's what the cement's for. Look, I've got that today, so I'll just go around and do that. But that's a 2-minute job, isn't it? David cut the bushes down as well, so it's easy to pull out Middle Street now to the left. So, but everyone was stopping and saying thank you very much, well done.
Yeah, it looks an awful lot better.
So yeah, so that's done.
Thank you. Excellent.
Hooray.
Any further update that you want to do on the website?
No, I think I've covered the website thing. I mean, I think come April, hopefully it'll be up and running, and we'll be delighted with it.
Okay, so the next item is the proposal from the shop for the patio area to the front of the shop. So, yeah, you want to take a chair and a coat.
It's freezing in here.
I sent out didn't I, to today the proposal that came from the shop management committee with the various marked off areas of patio and picnic tables. Yeah, that's what they're wanting to do as an extension of their current situation, and of course that's permanent.
Sorry, I've come in late on this again. My apologies.
Okay.
But what do they want to do and why do they want to do it?
So, yeah, we basically had an approach from the shop to say that they wanted to pave. These are the two green areas out front of the shop.
Yeah.
That's the shop that we sat here.
Yeah.
Your existing bench next to the car park.
Which is on the green.
This is all grass at the moment. The red bit that's marked here is proposed to be patio. Blue bits are the existing 2 benches that are there, and that's the footings in front of them. And then there's the suggestion of 2 patio tables. Do you want patio tables like that? Picnic tables
Yeah.
on one part. And
So what they're trying to do is open it up as to be an eating area for the shop.
Yeah.
Are they still intending then to become a donut and coffee shop? Because the whole idea way back was they were talking about being a coffee shop for cyclists and stuff like that.
I mean, what they're actually asking to do by doing that, in a sense, they were asking to extend their lease parameter from the shop out to the green area, which is owned by the council.
Yes.
Because effectively they're actually, what they're saying is they're going to take control of that front area in a way for the consumer, admittedly, but that's what they're proposing to do.
I think there's quite a lot of, like you said, somebody had come to the surgery. I think as you look at it, the aesthetics are quite nice at the moment because we've got green area, pathway in the middle, and obviously some of us have put some effort into getting that grass to grow and things like that. I do think that it might be a thing that other members of the public would want to have an input on. If we make that decision, I think people might say, well, hang on a minute.
I mean, whether it's worth us, with permission obviously of the shop, but put maybe something in the next magazine saying this is a proposal that's out there, what's the general view, because obviously once it's done it's permanent, it's not going to be undone. So
is there a need for it when you've got picnic benches and things in the park, so people can, if they go across they can
I
go
did always say we keep it green.
into the green, can't they?
I think it looks nice green. And the other thing that we've got to consider, like you just said, if they take that over, they would be then controlling it. Whereas it is a community space at the moment. And I think then there would have to be a whole another question about them probably renting it. And also we're running into the ecological status of the paving and water runoff and things like that. So I think there's a lot of questions to answer before we went down that kind of a road.
I agree, and I think there's one more question: why? Because there's never a big crowd out the front. The benches are used, definitely. Is it good enough to put another bench in to achieve the same effect?
And also, I mean, we did originally talk about the possibility of them, and the guides have done it when they've had their scarecrow weekends. They've had a couple of occasional tables they put out there with chairs on the grass. If they wanted to do something like that, it would show whether there's a demand for it. And you're only going to do it in the summer months anyway. But
that wouldn't hurt, would it? But something that they can take in at night and put out during the day. And
I mean, slightly similar, but also they're proposing to come in with an awning request as well. So I'm just trying to think of how the public might perceive it. Suddenly this is all extending out. You've got an awning, you've got now patio, picnic tables. That's fine if that's what you've decided upon. But I think you've got to consider all the various components of it, of what it involves, and how it would be perceived as well.
Once you concede to a concreted area, then there's very little argument about parasols and all the rest of it not going up. I think it's a community question, but then the big question for us is why. If they're talking about opening up a cafe and encouraging people in, then there's an argument. But if they just
I was just wondering if there was a description in anything there about why or what. But
so, I think the first reason for us is to ask why, because there's conversations about the Methodist Church, and people are talking about buying that and turning that into a business.
yes.
Now, if that opens up as a cafe, and we've got concrete here, we've now got 2 cafes, so we need to go wide.
We'll ask somebody from the management company to come, perhaps a couple of them, to come along and tell you what their reasoning is.
that's not a bad idea, is it? We could ask them to, before we put it out there to the public, we could say, could you come and explain to us what it is
what their reasons are for
And then when we put it out to the
what the
public,
exact proposals are before we consider it further.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously difficult with because in being on both.
Yeah.
He can't be in the room, so he can't do that presentation to us. But
No.
if someone else from
A
the
couple of
committee
people, I'm
came,
sure. They've got some fairly outspoken people, I'm sure, that can
I would have thought.
present to us, which is good.
So our members happy that we go back on that basis and
Just
say
invite
we'd like some more information as to the background to it, how it's going to work,
And then you can then
Give
ask
us
them
a
questions
chance.
as well, you know.
because as we've seen, somebody has already seen it on the agenda, others will see it on the minutes and
Yeah.
stuff, and possibly on the video, and then we'll get some feedback, I'm sure, from the.
And we get the houses opposite already are not happy with what we've done in the past, so all we're going to do is aggravate more people.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
I guess we'll put something in the notes of the meeting that this was discussed
Discussed.
coming to the next meeting.
Yeah.
So if others
And,
want to,
an invite has been given for the shop.
is everybody happy on that basis?
Yeah.
Okay, can we get an 8 back?
Hey,
Stuff.
Yeah, but what do you want to talk about first?
Playing baseball.
That kind of excitement that we had.
Yeah,
Okay, so if we move on to the E, the hills and levels, this is the project behind the church with drainage. David.
well, me and Bob met the contractor that we have engaged, but obviously we're getting a grant for the job anyway. We met up there with the flag lady and looked through the whole job and what we were looking to achieve and what the funding was going to provide. And I believe he has started today from someone that's reported on some clearance of the vegetation. What else, Bob?
So basically, when we were with him, he went through the details of what we talked about at the last meeting, which was obviously putting down, coming from Richard Mills Roberts' wood, they're going to do some felling of the trees in there and doing the leaky dams, which is what we got the grant for. Together with then there is a gully that comes down the Mills Roberts field, which they're putting these barriers in to slow the water. And then the other part of the project that he was doing was clearing the ditch as you go up the Linham's field. To the right hand side you've got the footpath, which is all overgrown at the moment, to expose the ditch, and then again put barriers in there to slow the water as it comes down. So his job there is particularly having to do clearance. Now, in the quote for what they've given us the grant for, the clearance that he is doing is from the kissing gate at the bottom of that hill up to where the woodland starts, which is where drainage would be coming out from, which it was 80 metres of clearance. Whilst we were on site, that then doesn't include the whole section of the path that goes up beyond there to the kissing gate with the concrete plinth underneath it. That is a further 60 metres of ground which is currently overgrown in the ditch. So he gave us an estimate as to if we would have that cleared whilst he's doing the other piece of clearance at the sort of same rate as he's clearing the other one. I think, David, you've got the figure that
Yeah, he quoted us 580 pence, including VAT, so obviously it would come down, and just give us a brief description of the same sort of clearance as he was doing, the understory vegetation cleared from the ditch line, and the waste and small branches stacked on the crest of the woodland bank. Because he did look at laying the hedge up the top because he thought that would be good, but it wasn't really suitable because it was more just bramble and rubbish. But we felt we'd ask him if he could do this work because the water comes down that particular bit to get in the ditch, and we thought we'd bring it back to Parish Council and see what they thought, because as he's now on site doing the work, whether we should get this extra bit done that will definitely improve the job we're already doing.
and it should make it easier for the other contractor. We were looking then at grading the path. If he's cleared all the stuff back to the ditch, then it's easier to then regrade the path back, which would be the next phase.
I was going to say it makes sense to get him to do the whole job seeing as he's there. So to get him to clear the whole lot, because he will do it to the same standard and the same level and whatever. Yes, I would say that's a good idea.
This will need doing every year, all the vegetation up, won't it? As well. Once it's done, it grows back, it's going to be doing again and doing again, doing again.
Not on the same level, I wouldn't.
No, not on the same level, but I agree, get them do it, but like next year, will it be an easier thing for us to do instead of getting big contractors in again to do stuff like that?
What's there at the moment is years of overgrowth.
I would agree to, I would say get them to do it,
Yes, rather than small tree clearance, which
Yeah.
is what it is.
because that will help us out for next year.
The other thing
And it is approved by the Farming and Wildlife Action Group because we're obviously in bird nesting season and they are happy for it to continue because he's filling out paperwork every day.
I propose we get him to do the whole
just
job.
one other thing to let you know is he also said that he can't, because I was expecting he'd go in there with brush cutters and stuff, but apparently he's not allowed to do that. He's got a hedge,
It's
almost like a hedge trimmer,
handled hedge cutter.
because otherwise he's got to have people at either end of the footpath keeping people away while they might be hit by things that are being spun off by a brush cutter.
Yes,
or a
they do.
trimmer. Where else? Okay, so the how much was the amount, David, that we need to?
£580 minus VAT on that.
That's 464.
Is that
I
460?
propose we ask him if he can do it.
Okay,
I think he'll do it this week as well. I think that is.
is that seconded? Yeah, all those in favour, we do that. Good show. That's good.
That's okay.
Okay. The other thing we were going to just raise tonight, and it might be to do tonight or not, and it's again linked with that whole project. You remember we had quotes from a contractor who was looking to do the path behind the church. There were sort of two parts that he quoted. One was, in effect, redigging out the ditch that used to be above the footpath, and again putting in barriers down the ditch to stop the water just gushing down. And then the second part of his quote was to resurface the footpath that was behind the church, which was the one obviously that got washed down by all the flood. We are waiting for an updated quote from him on the third part, which was the regrading of the path up the Linens field. But it was really just to ask members whether you want to move ahead with asking him to get on with doing the first two parts, or whether we wait until a month and get him to do the whole quote to us at a time.
Is it worth us, and again, I'm speaking from ignorance, is it worth us getting the water slowed down off the slopes before we regrade the path? Because if they're not predicting we're going to have a dry summer this year, are they? So there's a good chance we're back into floods.
Yeah.
And we don't want to regrade the path and have it wash back down into the end of Church Lane.
So in effect, the slow the flow stuff in the field should be done by the end of this week, next week, I think. So he's actually worked. So the guy who is the one who we're being paid by grant, he's on site now and will be doing all that work continuous. And then this is the next stage of
Dealing with the water
When the
when it's
water's
slowed down.
Yeah.
So we're not running the risk of losing the
No,
gravel.
this is all like the same package as such as we've always been talking about, that this works what's being funded by the Somerset Rivers Authority ultimately, which is quite good because we didn't expect them to fund everything that's been done at the moment.
So when the whole project is done, again, how much are we exposing the parish to cost? Our bit of the cost.
So we're paying the majority of it. So in effect, the first part that has been authorised already is all paid by SRA. So that's about 4,500 to 5,000, something in that ballpark.
Okay.
The quotes that we had previously from the contractor for the path work was doing the ditch above the path, including putting a culvert, wasn't it, underneath where the water comes down the Linens field. Currently, you paddle your way through that will be taken into the new ditch and stop the quagmire at the bottom. That bit of ditch and all the work going into that was $3,500, and the path resurfacing was 4,800.
Which bit do we pay? The
So,
last
so
two
the,
bits?
yes, so
So about £8,000.
the Rivers Authority said they would be happy to do the flood stuff up the hill, but they would not touch anything to do with footpath works. It wasn't there
So we're focusing about 8,000.
Yes.
on those two bits. And then there's the regrade of the other part, which is why you remember we had the £7,000 that we set aside last year, and then we were saying we were going to set another £7,000 aside this year. So
14.
in effect, we've got the best part of 14 to work with.
But we've still
Yeah.
got the steep slope to do,
Yes.
which we haven't got a price until Ben is finished the work for like what he's doing up there now.
Because the other contractor was saying he wanted to see how the land lie before he started working out how he would regrade it. He needs to know how much has moved of what's currently on site. I mean, I think in a way, but probably as well to bring this forward to the next meeting, we can bring the full package as to
Well,
these
I
are.
was going to say, would it be easier for us, because I'm thinking about really, Owen, you're going to have to justify the expense.
Yeah, but
So
also
we're
think
gonna
about
move
how
to-
much to minute on this as well, because there's a whole lot of stuff here. My feeling at the moment is it's too much detail for the minute.
Yeah.
So you just have basically put on there, it's an ongoing issue. The council have agreed £580 plus
And I
that.
think the second part is it worth us just putting together the one paper, sort of audit sheet, so that when we agree what we're going to do, you've they've got one thing with the quotes behind it that you can just put on the table. Because otherwise we're going to be, if we do get audited, you're going to be pulling pieces of paper from everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be worth us just going, right, these are the 7-8 moves,
Yeah.
these are the details, this is the cost. It's
One
much
purchase
easier.
order.
Yeah, one purchase order.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then at the end of it, it's how much we've got coming in, how much is going out. We know we've budgeted for it.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right.
Okay, so we'll bring that to the next meeting.
yeah,
Excellent.
if you need help on that, I'm happy to help them.
Okay, cold calling signage.
That was something we discussed when we last month. And we were going to get some ideas of signs, signage, weren't we? Cold calling.
Yeah.
Was there a discussion like someone was looking on, whether it was
I
online?
looked it up online, didn't I?
David and Amanda
Yeah,
last
but I
month.
don't know what we decided.
Is that sort of ongoing?
I said, weren't you going to speak to Arian Signs about it?
No, not.
Is
Because
that
these
not-
don't need to be
No.
bespoke stuff, this
No.
is
Well,
general.
I did.
I think they
Do we
were
want,
saying.
I just looked it up and I
online,
was
yeah.
here on some sign company, but it wasn't a lot of money, but I don't know how many we need or anything.
No.
Do you want a decision
If-
to buy them or do you want to?
If we, I think.
Do they work?
I think at least it means that people can point to them and say, this is a no cold calling area when they get someone turning up. If maybe we can, before the next meeting, work out how many of these things we need and get a quote as to what the cost would be, so we can actually make a decision at the next meeting and we can get on with it.
Terry, wouldn't it just be all entries into the village? 10 you want? Go on. 10. You've thought about it, haven't you? So-
You have to put them up like every half mile or something like that, but you can't just put one in that and one in that in.
Okay.
Because there's 3 entrances coming into Brent Knoll.
Yeah, they need
Yes.
to be at the bottom
So-
of the road, don't they, really?
Yeah,
So
they
you
do.
don't
They
do
do.
it twice.
You need the name rules as well,
Yeah,
because I had a cold call around Wales.
yeah,
And I told him straight away, and he phoned his mate up, and he come and picked him up straight away. But if it's in the sign, then
yeah.
we've done it.
It put them off, it doesn't, yeah.
Because people forget about places like mine, down that end, Hand Road, and Burtonville. People can forget about right down there, where there's no houses at all.
Even places like Whip Lane and stuff.
Yeah.
It's something-
Yeah.
so-
Yeah,
Yeah, so you still need at least
Yeah,
10 signs.
yeah. Have you counted that up? Is that right? Is it?
You'll need about 10 signs for Whip Lane and that lot as well, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mill Street as well.
So, I think last time you looked them up, it was only about a tenner or something.
Yeah, it wasn't very expensive.
So,
I haven't done
Would,
Wi-Fi.
would members be happy if we find out that they are less than £10 a sign, that we get up to £100 worth of signage
Yeah.
for no cold calling? With just a standard no cold calling sign, it doesn't need
Yeah.
anything specific?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
need to get an A3 one, really, as well. Not a little tiny thing.
Yeah.
okay, we will take that forward and do it. Flagpole, we looked at the last meeting and we were going to report back in effect saying what we could or couldn't do. 8.
Yeah, we was coming to this because this is our next job. We was going to do a pilot hole if everyone agreed tonight then we only need to go down about 2 foot in it.
Yeah.
We was going to do a toilet hole, nice and steady with shovels and that part. Make sure there's nothing there. Ashley told me there was nothing there when they done it, when they laid it all. It was just curb and grass. But if we do a little toilet hole and we know there's nothing there, put everything back, and then we know, and then we bring it to next meeting to say, yeah, nothing there.
So the suggestion was at the moment the flagpole, because the BT have tightened up their wires, the flag is now snagging in the wires where it used to go over them. So the idea was to move it to near the,
Stop post.
so on that plan it would be in there.
Yeah.
So it's near there's a concrete post there already, it would be around about there, so it would be visible in both directions because it's above the level of the low part of the hall. And at least then it's set back far enough off the road that it doesn't affect any of the other wires, because anywhere along the edge of the road, the wires are right the way along there.
And
So,
it's destroying the flags.
so are we happy that we do that?
Mhm.
And as you say, just take it steady because there might be the odd cable.
Get a digger.
Okay. And defib.
Well, that was on there because I think.
Yeah.
It was on there.
Yeah, I spoke to SADS, I spoke to Red Cow, so they're sorting that out. So, but someone else was saying that they're trying to get one for the hall. So I don't know who that is, because someone mentioned it the other day, or was going to propose coming to the council or something to see if they can get one fitted in the hall. And I said that'd be pointless because we got 100 yards down the road.
Yeah.
And then the Red Cow, we have another one, so we've got one within a mile of each other, about half a mile of each other. So I don't know who that was.
Could you also talk to James Sinnott? Because there are some discussions going on, I think, with the existing one, that they're needing to sort something out. But it'd be worth talking to her before, so we don't cut across each other.
Yeah, I'm going to see it tomorrow, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else on that one? If not, that's the report, Amanda.
Just following on from the ladies that spoke earlier, I think we might need to have some sort of a resolution about the amount of people that know how what the SIDS are set up. I'm concerned that, yeah.
I don't know how it got out.
Well, he's told them he's in contact with them. So, and I don't think that's very.
We put that on the agenda, something about it sits in general.
Yeah.
There's a few things I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we'll have another word, I think, with the police about whether there's any mileage in. And they have a step down because you say the numbers have dropped of the really high ones, so whether they'll allow us to come down a bit further.
I mean, it'd be worth changing it now anyway,
Yes.
because we
Yes,
just broadcast it to everything.
Yes.
We might as well put signs in saying this is a 41-hour zone.
Yeah, exactly.
You delete it.
It's less than
Not had to. It's not.
It's amazing because they use the wrong software, because it's an amazingly long-winded process. Because every time there's a date on the thing, I've got to set up a new report. And it takes, if you get more than about, I mean, I had 50. I did 50 the other day from just one couple of weeks, and that was set up. No, 41 obviously. Now, if that went down to say mid-30s or whatever, you triple, quadruple that, and you don't like so many reports. This is a problem.
But we'll have that.
We'll have a conversation at some point.
Andy.
Just on that point, there seems to be some confusion exactly what these things are. There's a lot of frustration that people aren't being prosecuted, when actually it's just a camera, and it's up to the police. I think it'd be worth publicising exactly what these things do, so people don't get
I'll put
frustrated.
it down there for an item on the agenda. So.
Can something be done in the annual meeting about it?
Yeah.
Next
That's
year,
a good idea.
somebody come and talk about it.
Because we haven't really got anybody planned for the annual meeting at the moment.
It's very emotive. People are looking for an answer,
Yeah.
and this is part of the answer, not the full answer.
And the difficulty is in terms of issuing fines and checking people's insurance and stuff. I mean, there were some people in the village who were very worried about the Big Brother element that we were putting up a camera that was going to be monitoring their movements. So he's trying to find that happy medium.
Interesting.
Yeah, toilets. 3 times I've been called out to toilets. The alarm going off. People thinking it's a shop alarm, and I've come down here and it's a toilet where someone's gone in there and pulled the cord down. If that carries on, we're due to have a look at night time. Because there's no way I'm going to come down here at 12 o'clock at night again.
Is it kids?
It must be kids, unless it's well, I can't say on camera, but unless it's people playing. Kids, adults playing. Sorry.
Go on,
Okay,
explain.
No, let's not go there.
No.
After the meeting, you want.
So yeah, I'll tell you after the meeting, but
Okay.
I don't know what's going on, but people are phoning me saying the alarm's gone off the shops. I'm bombing down here, straight away I know it's not the alarm, so I set them off every month anyway, so I know it's a toilet. So I go in there and the cord's been busted off, but it's not, it's got a snap lock on it.
That's right. Yeah.
And the snap lock's gone, and it's down on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. And there's no kids around, and then I went up the road, come back, and then parked up to see whether the kids are doing it on purpose, but no one around.
Okay.
So the only thing to do is if it carries on, it's going to have to be locked up at night.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Okay. Colin.
The lock on Hill Lane car park, just an update on that. Other than that, there's nothing.
Yeah. So the update, it's been taken back because it failed again.
It's gone back to the manufacturer because they said that in countrywide they get 2 a year back, and we've taken 2 back within about 3 months.
We are country.
Yeah. So they think that they think the super glue or something's been put in it. So they won't give us a refund or anything, where it's nearly £50 lock. So they're assessing it to decide if we get another lock or whether they could recommend something different. So we're just waiting for them to come back, basically.
Okay. Tracy.
No.
Nothing really, no.
Okay. Thank you all very much. We'll close the meeting at 9:15.
Turn that off.